33 and a half, we are red is on.
Well, I'll call this meeting February 25th to call to order. Let the record show Selectman Scanlon is not present. Peter Selectman Fogg is not present, but he is on his way. Selectman Scanlon will not be joining us tonight. All right, approval of minutes. February 11th. Make a motion, we bring them to the floor for discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
All right.
Sweatshirts.
I'm just reading that, yeah.
Did we have a resolution to cost of a new liner or repairing it to the ice rink? Was there a resolution to that? Okay. So it's hanging. Yeah, I just meant, did we come to a conclusion, or it's, so it is hanging? Okay.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of February 11th as written.
Oh, hold on one second before you make that.
Okay.
Under page 2, I believe it should be, it was agreed the rim diameter was changed to 20 inches.
That was last week,
Oh, what?
right?
That was last week, not the 11th.
This was the week before that.
No, but we changed it to,
Last week we changed it.
Last week we went up to 20. The week before we went from 16 to 19. Then last week we went from 19 to 20.
I thought there was a discussion on 20 the
There
week
was.
before.
There was, and no,
There was,
no
but we didn't.
resolution. We got enough votes for 19.
Okay,
I got
I'm
more
fine.
information on the,
Okay, so my motion stands.
All right,
well, I'll second that.
all right. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, Johnny, you're up.
Congratulations, Gail.
Thank you, Joe.
As written, as presented.
We don't have a report. We do not have a weekly report emailed to us.
Send it early. Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday.
And your plan.
22nd? I stand corrected.
The one on the 19th or the 22nd?
22nd. Ending the week 2/21. Did you get that, Gail? It says WWS 2/21.
Yep, I got it. Sorry, yep, I have it right here.
All right. Well, we'll just blame Gail. Okay. All right. Good. All right, let's move on. What do you got for us?
Well, while you were on that topic, I
John's
can give
not
you
here tonight.
these. This is only for one day of what I came up with for mechanic. I have copies for Joyce and Gail too.
Leave one for John, too, so.
Yeah, I have one for everybody.
Definitely one for Peter.
This is one day?
This is just for one day.
This doesn't,
And what I was gonna ask you about was, I made these up for Arthur to fill out by hand. I will duplicate it for, to attach it along with the weekly work schedule. So it'll come through the same as the work schedule. And what I will do with this is, I will write on this sheet so that it's typed in, it's easier to read, and maybe like this LOF, like here, I'm not 100% sure, I could ask Arthur.
Lube oil filter.
Lube oil filter.
Yeah.
I would just write that in, lube oil and filter for you guys. And,
I figured that one out.
We got it.
yeah, I know you do, but
We
not
got
everybody.
it. Catherine got it.
oh, yeah.
I
I'm
got it.
guessing these other guys are like
Because I'm going
mechanically
2 hours for
inclined.
lube oil filter?
What's that?
2 hours to
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
7 to 9.
You also gotta remember,
1:30 to 2:15.
If you look at 7 to 9 a.m.,
Number
lube
4.
oil, but he also greased the lockovers.
No, he greased
Look
it,
over.
Greased it
and
and
he
he
looked
looked it
over the
over.
car.
yeah, that's the part where I would.
He went over the car.
I mean,
But there's more to it than just lube oil and filter, because it's
then
not.
where is it?
Grease.
Because trust me, I lube oil and filter all of the fleet vehicles that I have, including my tractors,
Yeah, but he
so.
does, he
Oh, I
did
know,
the
but
grease and he gave it an
There's more
inspection.
to
Well, for
the,
Arthur,
this way, isn't it here?
well, for.
Look over in Arthur's terminology is like a
Inspect the vehicle.
32-point inspection.
Okay, but you can't help but look it over if you properly grease and lube a car. You can't help but
But
look it over.
he's also, every time.
2 hours is crazy, I'm sorry.
No, it's not 2.
I don't
Yes,
want
it
to
is.
micromanage
What's
this
up
guy.
2 hours.
7 a.m. to 9
I
a.m.
had to get on him to, maybe I can change this. That's why I brought it to you guys. Is this what you're looking for?
So this is a brainstorming
This
one.
is a brainstorming one, 'cause before I
So
got
is
into
this just an
it.
example, or is this real?
No, this is
This
actual.
is real, but I want to add to it or take away from it, depending on what you're looking for.
Detail.
Because in this case, he can give detail as to,
Having Arthur do endless amounts of paperwork.
that's the problem.
Okay, but here's the thing, in order for us to determine whether or not it makes sense for us to continue to bring the police vehicles down there for maintenance,
I believe it to
or
me.
send them off to, I mean,
To
So
me,
are you thinking he's slacking during that 2 hours?
I don't.
See,
I'm asking
the
Catherine.
problem is, if you have an issue, like, for instance, the four, and you're a lube oil filter, and you come across a problem, you're greasing it, and you're looking it over, you come across a problem, does he write that down? And that's where, if you look down further in the day, he did the 3D, it took him 45 minutes. So my question as a selectman, I'm looking at this for the first time, I would say, what's the difference between the 3D and the number 4, the 4A, right?
Right.
What's the difference, other than he greased one and the other, so it's 2 hours versus 45 minutes? Can we get a more detailed, not horrific paperwork kind of
Because I
detail,
want to keep it simple.
but, you know, did he run into a problem where it took him to another place? Well, all right, I found out that there was a bulb missing, I had to order a bulb came in, I replaced the bulb, okay, there. Those things happen to him quite often, but he never puts that down because it's routine to him. Some of the things that he feels that are routine,
That's what I'm trying to say. I think that's the problem, is, you're looking
we
at-
need to know that, because what we're looking at right now, are we getting the most bang for our buck as a mechanic in the highway department? You know, is it cost effective for us to do our own oil changes, or is it just as easy to go $29.99 up the road here and have it done for us, and they do the inspection?
Right. Yeah. I understand what you're going for, and that's why I'm coming back to you with this, so that I can get more ideas.
when he repairs one of those vehicles, isn't a repair ticket issued? I mean, isn't there, I mean,
believe so, but I can come
okay,
up with more.
let me finish.
Yeah.
When he repairs a police vehicle, we need to know what's being done to it. There needs to be a repair ticket. I mean, what does he do? Just fix it and it goes back out, and we have no idea if that needed a new ball joint, struts?
He has one, like the one that I showed you last week, but.
There has to be a repair ticket because.
He's got records
we've
on
got
everything.
records.
I've seen some of
We've
them.
seen the records from Tim on the maintenance on the back of the budget.
I know he's got it.
What's done to what vehicle?
That's the ones that I showed you last week.
Okay.
But
So-
you want more detailed, they're
I
online,
don't
they're
want
printed
detail.
out.
I want to know what's happening to those vehicles.
Okay.
And it kind of annoys me that you come in with this and you're going to change it, but if this is what actually happened, what are we changing?
Well,
If you're
what
gonna
you're
give us
changing
more
up here is description, right?
No, I don't, no.
Because if there's more than what happened in just a grease and a lookover is very broad. There may be something else that he's doing there.
I've been maintaining the vehicles for Dawson's Concrete for 40 years and the farm vehicle for longer than that. So, my question is, again, when he repairs a vehicle, there should be a repair ticket in detail with what's happened to that vehicle. So if he did a, blue oil and filter on number 4 and it took him 2 hours and he looked it over, that's ridiculous for 2
Right.
hours.
I see what you're
If he did something else, then why don't we have a copy of a repair ticket? I mean, that's kind of
Is
simple.
that what you want, Catherine? It's a repair
It's
ticket?
simple. So, in order for us to determine whether it makes any sense for us to continue having vehicles repaired at the town garage or send them down to, needs lube oil and filter, send it down there. It takes half an hour, 45 minutes. We're not paying health insurance, we're not paying benefits, we're not, there's no wages attached to it.
All right.
So,
I can-
this isn't enough information. I would like to see, not from this point forward, I'd like to see what took place from June to December of last year. So where are those repair tickets?
You don't have,
Because the other thing, well,
I mean, you
they're
have
not-
some, but not.
I
to
don't
the-
want some. Every time a vehicle goes in there should have a repair ticket because you need a history of those vehicles. If you've got a car that's constantly coming in and you're constantly repairing the same issue, then there's an issue with that car, and if it's a new car, that's a warranty issue. How do we know that if we don't have a repair ticket?
You have repair tickets, but not to the detail you're asking for. I
Then
don't
what's the
believe.
sense of having them?
You're right. And the only thing I can do with that is I can get repair tickets. I can look online and find them. They're all over the place with detail. I can start that up. I can start a program up. I can even work with the police department for them. And
This is
but-
something the mechanic should be generating. A vehicle comes in, I mean, the
I can work with-
PD should bring a vehicle down, there should be something that's transferred over, whether electronically or paper, that says, the whatever is coming in.
Well, he has, like I said, he has repair tickets,
Arthur
but I don't
has
know
these
if anybody
tickets. All you
ever
gotta do
asked
is
for
ask for
them
'em.
within the detail that you're
You
looking
don't
for.
have to make a new wheel. 16A comes
we
in,
haven't seen
there's a
it. Arthur
noise in the
keeps
engine.
records.
Boom.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen
You
it.
get that.
I have not
He
seen any
goes
of
through and does this. Well, what
I
did he
didn't see
do?
it.
So I can get I can get a repair ticket. I don't have to make one. I can get one. They're
You can
standard out
you
there.
can just type in a report
Perhaps
on the
maybe,
thing.
perhaps,
On the
let me
thing.
just throw this out here. Perhaps maybe this ought to have a conversation with Arthur and you
Yeah.
next week, and then say, this is
Why?
where we're gonna, well, because you're giving the information to Johnny, Johnny's giving the information to Arthur.
He's the department head.
I get it, I get it, but you go directly to the source and say, this is what I want to see.
How about if you come to the highway department on one day, whenever it's convenient for
This
you?
is a conversation for all selectmen.
Yeah, this is definitely a conversation for all selectmen, because we all
How
have
about,
this,
go ahead, bring Arthur next week.
I mean,
You want me to bring some examples of some of the repair tickets I can come up with?
What you can scrounge around, that'd be
And
great.
then that way, you guys can decide on a format that you like. Because we can't do anything about what's gone on in the past. Nobody, as far as I know, has asked for a more detailed repair ticket than the ones Arthur does. So I can't do anything about the
That's our fault.
past. but I can do from here on out.
Yep, that's
And
good.
Arthur, as far as I know, he's gonna be there for 4 more years, and we can get the history, and we can decide what goes on from there. But I can tell you this, coming from, I can look at both sides of the fence, as far as resident and taxpayer and working in the shop. Resident says, well, yeah, I want the most bang for my buck, I want the cheapest fix and repair for the least amount of money, but the best for the least amount of money. But there's other things as far as having a mechanic and having the right mechanic in a shop that makes a big difference. I can take you to several shops around the state that don't have mechanics, and I'll show you the difference in their trucks, and also the difference in their budgets.
Well,
And
but here's the thing.
It washes out. This is the first municipality that I've worked for that had a mechanic, and there's a huge difference in the vehicles. It makes a big
It's not
difference.
just having the mechanic, it's making sure that the maintenance is done, and whether you do it in-house or out-of-house,
Well, there's
you know,
a huge cost, believe it or not, with maintenance out of house, because you're talking, if I take it to a mechanic or have a mechanic come to the shop to work, you're talking 75.
why would
at
we have a
minimum.
mechanic come to the shop and work?
Because there's a lot of things that we as truck drivers can't fix. I mean, we're not,
So if the truck breaks down at the shop and can't move, you'd have somebody come and fix it.
we would either have somebody come fix it, or we end up having to tow it to a shop.
Okay. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about...
No, I'm just saying
We're not
there's-
talking about public works equipment. The other problem is we basically have a full-time mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Are our vehicles breaking down that much, so every day we have mechanic work for our mechanic? Because there's something wrong there if we do.
No, they're really not breaking down that much, and that's part of having a mechanic.
Police vehicles are.
They're breaking down that much?
They run them like
Every
that's
every
stolen.
week we have police
It's
vehicles
not
in
a-
there.
not a
Every
big
single week we have
surprise.
police vehicles. Or am I wrong?
No, they're generally lube oil and filter, and, but sometimes there's lights and different things, but,
Right.
we had the white car,
Yep.
and we had the car that we had to have the engine, changed out, but I can't think of too many that were serious breakdowns.
Doesn't have to be a serious breakdown to be in the shop.
No.
I mean, he's doing the maintenance on it. It's in the shop. It's taken his time.
But yeah, I mean,
This is February 22nd, Monday. You've got number 4, that's a cruiser.
yeah.
Number 1, that's a cruiser. Number 2 is a cruiser.
And I had a noise, number one.
3D is a cruiser. That's 4 cruisers in one day. We're talking cruiser maintenance.
That does,
They're all due on the same day?
No, we had 4 in on the same
they
day.
usually try to schedule the cruiser maintenance on Tuesdays. This happened to be Monday, but they usually try to schedule it on Tuesdays.
We come to the conclusion that he should probably come next week with Arthur.
You have this sheet?
Yeah, it's in a stack
Oh,
here.
it's in a stack.
Yeah, it's in, there it is, on the bottom.
So I can actually do, like I say, there's already work orders out there. I don't have to recreate them. It can be as simple as a check. You go to what you're doing and check, and there are places to fill in. That makes the paperwork a lot simpler.
I should just keep mine in the notebook.
We're
I didn't need
looking
a form.
for information, and this right here is not giving us what we're
That's
looking
why I
for.
brought it. I wanted to, before I get going with it.
This is very simple. It's not giving us what we need, what we're looking for. Because, like I said, the number 4 vehicle, a lube oil and filter and grease took 2 hours, and yet the 3D took 45 minutes.
What's his salary?
Well, no, this is what we're trying to figure out, because...
Well, I was gonna say, because it's cheaper to go.
Yeah, because this is not enough information. He
Right.
must have done something else in a 2-hour period. That's why I put completed yes or no and interruptions. If he was
See,
interrupted for something...
The question is, look over is his interpretation of inspection.
Well,
So-
is it inspection, or is it
Did he
the
find
typical, or
something
is
and
it the
fix it?
typical lookovers they do whenever you go to any place to have a lube oil and filter, and they,
But when you're doing a lube oil and filter, you're doing that while you're doing the lube oil and
Correct.
filter.
Well,
Just
correct.
Go back to the 2 hours.
Well, and
And he shouldn't be inspecting vehicles because we're not an inspection station.
No, but as
And they've
an,
already been
Are
inspected.
you gonna know if the
When you're
brakes
oiling and
are...
filtering,
I mean,
looking-
you're
you
already
gotta
seeing it.
inspect these vehicles.
yeah, but you're
You
looking
can't
for,
stick your head in that hood and underneath that car without,
Is anything gonna be decided here tonight?
probably not.
Excellent. Let's get Arthur in here. We'll talk about it then, and let's move on.
okay, I'll bring Arthur next week.
see what you can find for repair tickets.
I really think you, as a director, should be looking at repair tickets and coming
I
up
will.
and look at them and say, this is what I want to keep track of my time in my mechanic's time and look at it so you can analyze it as well as us. And I think you, as a director, should step up to the plate and do that.
I can do that.
Before Arthur comes in next week.
Yeah, I'll have all that set up.
Okay,
And
all right. What's next?
I have to say one thing here. I have a list of our cruisers from Ryan. I don't have a number 4. I have a
4A.
number 4A, and I have a number 4B. I don't have a number 1. I got a 10A,
There is no such thing
a
as a...
16A, and a 16B. I don't have a number 2 of any kind.
There is no number
So
2.
we're going to get
Okay.
that straightened out
There is no
next week,
number 2.
right?
There's
I do have a
4A,
3D.
4A.
So whose cars were we fixing?
the police departments, but I'm not 100% familiar with their,
We'll get that straight
They
next
need
week.
to get that straightened out, because that's,
We're gonna talk about this again next week,
I'm talking about it right now.
okay?
So when they come in next week,
We'll have all the
it's
information.
gonna be correct.
Okay.
I brought this in hard copy. I think I shared it with you guys, or I gave you two. This was a 10-year plan for roads. I've got this done in spreadsheet form. I have to go back to my files and redo the files, but I tried to, tried to keep it as close as I could to what we've been doing with the 60,000, 65,000 per year request. There is 1 year, which would be 2017. No, 2018, going into, I think we'd have to request 100,000, an additional 45 to do the streets in the, I'm not sure what you like to call it, but I usually call it like a village area over here in town.
The tree streets.
Tree streets and all that. Because we could do a lot of mill and fill in these areas and get them done, and then we would be back on course to stay the course with the 65,000.
If you're suggesting that between, well, we're already headed for town meeting for 2016, so beginning in 2017, we should increase that 65,000 by, you're saying we need another 45, so
In 2018.
23, and then the next year, 23. or-
Right.
Do you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we could do, that might be a softer blow.
That's the reason why you have a reserve fund, to make the blow as small,
Yeah.
hit as small as possible.
So that might even be a better idea. So, because I'm going to fall short according to my plans. Because what I like to try to do is, as we're going along and doing work, I like to keep the work in areas if possible, instead of jumping from here to there to everywhere else, and getting the most out of our work without having to pay mobilization fees and things along those lines. So, yeah, I invite you to look it over. I think it's a workable plan. I do try to estimate my costs a little high, because I'd rather not come short. So this is finished for your approval, and I've started working on the sidewalks to get that ready as soon as possible. I figured with the $31,000 that's gonna buy, under normal circumstances, about 1,000 feet of sidewalk. So that example would be for length, it'd be a 5-foot wide sidewalk. For length would be, the best example I can come up with is Church Street. It's about the length of Church Street. So what I would suggest is I can write it up for this year coming. I know Winter Street is, we want to concentrate around the school area.
Winter Street, that's gonna be a huge cost.
Well, it's going to be a huge cost, but if we did 1,000 feet of Winter Street, we don't have to do the whole thing all at once, and I can mark out, I can be selective on Winter Street. I can do 1,000 feet of Winter Street that the road work will not affect, and we can work on that sections.
Or, because we have such a horrible section that's gonna be so expensive, if you added, say we did all of Winter Street, you're looking at well over 100,000.
Yeah.
If you did all of Lockmere, you're looking at well over 100,000. So maybe that's a bond issue,
That could be.
because that way you would have more people paying for it because it's paid out over a period of 10, 15, 20 years.
But I'm not in favor at doing Winter Street at all until we push the state to do something about Winter Street.
So when you're
Okay.
creating your plan,
Because,
possibilities.
right, well, then we can throw Winter Street off of the table, but the other part of that I was thinking of was the sidewalk along Route 3 on the school side. It's deteriorating. It's not what I would call super bad. I can pick out sections that the highway department can actually work on to maintain before the frost goes out of it. I can go down and mark it, and we can work on that this summer.
When you create your list, why don't you take sections like Winter Street and School Street and give them a separate page? Because it's not normal maintenance. at this
It's not
point.
normal maintenance. We can't do that
It's a total
on our own.
rebuild.
Yeah.
So I have a page for total rebuild.
I mean, I'm more than willing to have the crew help out to try to stretch our money, but it's not, we can't do it on our own, I don't think.
Not to get it done and do it done quickly.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see.
Meanwhile, we need to push the state for winter. When we meet with him on the 3rd, we can push him in on Winter Street. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know if C.R. Wilkie has anything to do with that part of it, but I think, what's his name, Mr. Rollins will probably be there, so we can push him.
We got the right guys to push.
We push them all.
We push
Play
them
no
all.
favorites.
That's right, we just push them all right up to the top.
What I see is a nice job here.
Okay.
Well, thank you. There are some
Any
other
other
streets, but I couldn't
questions?
get them all within the 10.
Well,
And I did call the tree service company, Magoon Tree, about the trees on Manville. He thought they were already being gone.
I think some of them, a few of them got taken.
Did a
The
few
ones
of
up near
Probably
John's, Mansville.
three-quarters are gone. Two-thirds to three-quarters are gone.
Because I told him I'm planning on posting those roads. I was thinking about posting the roads tomorrow. But I'm definitely gonna post them Monday if I don't post them tomorrow. Because the temperatures are coming up, they are getting soft. I usually would try to wait for the state,
My yard and
not gonna.
part of Ruby is, it's coming out.
So,
do the jump test?
I didn't do the jump test. I just looked at the temperatures coming up, and they need to be out of there. So he he promised me. He apologized that they're not gone yet, and he called him today. So we'll be posting the roads. Some of them will get posted tomorrow, if not all of them, but by Monday they'll all be posted.
Do you have any knowledge of the highway department painting the guardrail on High Street?
We haven't painted anything. No, I didn't.
There's fluorescent, is it pink? Have you seen it?
You mean marking paint?
Pink?
Yeah.
It's marking paint then.
Yeah, but who would mark it? It doesn't sound
You
like
know, when I saw it, I almost thought, did somebody do that so they could see the bridge at night? So
Did
it
they-
stand out?
How did they paint it?
Well, who's painting our guardrail? It's a brand-new guardrail for crying out loud. It's only a couple years old.
over on Pine Street or whatever?
High Street.
In
Pine
what
Street,
way,
oh, yeah.
in what way is it painted? I'll go and look tonight.
It's got fluorescent lines on it.
Straight up
Yeah.
and down like this? Is it like so wide or?
Yep. It's probably a distance between the, not that far, it's probably about this far apart. Because
I'll check.
it brings attention to the tree that DES told them to remove that was never removed.
Maybe somebody marked it.
No, it's right over the bridge. It's right in the middle of the bridge.
To my knowledge, they haven't painted the rails.
It's, you know, we have this really nice aluminum,
Yeah,
whatever.
it is a nice
And
bridge.
now you got a
The state-
fluorescent on pink.
Unless one of my guys.
That's what
did
your
it to
problem
try
is
to
you don't like
drain it.
pink.
But we mark it in.
It's marking paint.
I'll find out. If they did, we'll remove it. If they didn't, we'll remove it. But
All right, can you find out? Because it really does look awful.
We have,
we'll remove it one way or the other.
we have graffiti remover
Yeah,
at Littleton Park.
okay.
Paul Rush knows about it.
Yeah, no, we'll get rid of that.
But it's amazing. It got rid of black on concrete. You know, porous concrete is. Took it out. I was shocked.
Hey, speaking of that, you know our new pressure washer? When we tried it out, we first got it, down below the nozzle, the water spigot, you know, it's that rust.
Yeah.
We tried out a couple of different nozzles, because it comes in like 5 of them, just to see what it would do, and it was blasting that off. But we tried, there's one nozzle that puts it out like a stream, and it'll actually blast through the concrete.
I was gonna
You can
say,
spell your
I
name
know
in the
that
concrete,
stream,
yeah.
be careful.
No,
It'll
that's
go
why we
right
did it
through your
just that one
shoe.
spot to see.
Trust me, it'll go right through your shoe
Yeah.
too. You don't want to
Speaking
mess
from
with that one.
experience, or?
I saw somebody didn't take a toe, but took the end off their sneaker boot
Amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
Trim their toenails?
I use Eric's.
That
Okay.
thing's awesome.
Anybody else for, anything else for Johnny? Go ahead.
The last storm went really well. Somebody asked me about some snow that was on the road for a while, and I did want to say, sometimes I will leave some snow on the road. And I
Don't
wanted...
talk to me about leaving snow on the road.
No, some snow. No,
I don't care, I don't even care about some snow on the road. There's a big change in the way snow removal on the streets, especially the village streets, are being done.
No,
I can't say since you've been on board, but it happens to be a coincidence the same time you came on board,
no,
as opposed to the last 30 years, but
no, I wanted to explain a little bit of that. In a case like this last storm, where we started off with snow, and we knew freezing rain was coming, and then rain, one of the techniques, and it's been around for a long time, this ain't mine, is to open up some of the road when you know freezing rain's coming, but not open up all the road. Because if freezing rain's coming, the freezing rain will get on that snow, and the snow will give when a car runs over it, and it'll be mushy and milly, and you get some traction. If you get rid of all the snow when the freezing rain's coming, you got a glare ice situation, and it's way worse. So, but we got rid of it pretty slick when it was time. But no, some of it did stay on more than I had wanted. So we got it all. It actually worked out real well.
Do you think there'll be an opportunity in the next, well, you have tomorrow and then you have next week, to repair the damage from the sidewalk plow on Main Street so we can get rid of the cones?
It's already repaired, I was just leaving the cone up there more.
Not out front,
What?
where he's gone into where the trees are and the bark. There's these huge,
Oh, right here across?
right there and there.
The machine, it's really doing a number on the,
He's going too far over.
and he's dipping down and it's scraping and it's digging out.
The
Right.
bark mulch and stuff.
You could see the huge scrapes on the sidewalk.
All right.
And it just looks awful, the gravel in with the bark mulch. And I know why you did it, it was a quick patch, but that's what I'm asking, can we fix that?
Yeah.
You just
So it's,
replied
and out
to
here,
Chief's
when
Back in
you go out the
November.
front door, you'll see it.
Who did, the
Great
chief?
big divots. Needs to be put back in and
Replied back to something.
compacted.
November.
Yeah.
What did I
I'll-
say?
We're looking really shabby in our front.
I'll do that tomorrow.
And
The date on it.
didn't we have somebody once a week that would sweep around the
What did I
outside of
say?
town hall?
Oh,
I do it because it just looks revolting.
Oh, you mean like one of the guys would come down and sweep there? Yeah,
Did
nobody-
we?
Yeah, we
the
did.
sidewalks?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
even the ramp, you put all the salt on the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had 2 or 3 days of no rain, no salt, and the salt just there. All that salt comes in here. All
Okay.
the dirt of the salt and everything comes in the front door. And once a week, was it once or twice a week that, no, I think it was once a week, Dennis had someone come down and do it.
I remember Jay
All right,
doing
yeah,
it,
no,
but
I'll do that. I didn't know that that was supposed to have been done. I'll start that tomorrow.
that looks great.
I'll send a couple of guys down here to get it done for you.
Yeah.
No, thanks for letting me know.
No problem.
So, other than that, anybody else got anything for
I
Johnny?
still got nothing yet.
All right. Anyone over there? Joyce, anybody? Okay, that's it.
I heard from Beverly Haynes
Yeah?
this afternoon, 31 Church Street, told you and I'd been passed, that we looked at it,
Hasn't signed that one.
it's in your plan, but the frost has got to come out of the ground. And I also reiterated that it's not gonna be a complete fix. She'll still have the problem from the back, but she'll have to deal with that on her own. Just so you know, in case she calls you.
I assume she's separate,
Same
but
as-
those,
He's all good in that.
go to Pat. These were-
All right. Sounds wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you already signed these. What?
We got kicked off the table, had to do something.
Oh, okay. Moving right along. Oh, first, hold on a minute. Is there any public out there that would like to discuss anything? Nope. All right, let's move along. Like Peter last week. Yeah, please don't do a Peter.
That's right.
We gotta get 6 wheels, not 5.
Okay,
There's metal, I'd have him weld another one on it.
still working on that. Just some follow-ups from last week. We still need to, I haven't had a chance to call the DOT commissioner to schedule a meeting to go down and talk about crosswalks. I'll do that this week, tomorrow, and schedule something. The poles, we're supposed to write a letter. Remember about the poles that are going to remain around exit 20, or is
They agreed to leave all the poles we asked them to leave, didn't they? I
Okay.
thought that was very nice.
Right. So the town doesn't wish to assume any financial responsibility to operate any of the lights, still proposed to be discontinued. Okay. All right.
They made corrections, and some of the ones that we were being billed for, they were being billed for. There were a couple of corrections there. The chief wrote a letter,
Yep, October 21st.
and they did accept the reasons why we felt we needed to keep those on. And they gave us a letter back saying that they eliminated the ones off the list.
And they said they determined 5 of the 27 lights originally identified for removal would remain in operation.
Right.
Okay,
And so we're okay with that.
okay.
If we're not okay with that, we will assume the responsibility.
Yeah, we're good.
But we'd have to let them know to not disconnect them.
Well, if by chance one gets disconnected, because a lot of that, when we were at the meeting, we found out there was a lot of redundancy, and the state was paying for them, the town was paying for them. The records were all, not just our town, a lot of towns. And that if they get disconnected, it's because the records aren't really up to date. So if they get disconnected and we need it on, we'll deal with the state at that time. If we don't need it on, oh well, that's good.
Okay.
Why don't we just send them a note thanking them for reconsidering those lights?
Yep.
And at this time, we're
Right.
not interested, I mean, we won't be assuming responsibility for the ones they will be shutting off.
All right, and then I'm going to create, we have a DOT file under the Selectmen's dashboard, so I'll make a new file about streetlights, and so all this information will go in there, so when we're gone, people will know what we did. All right, and this I still have to schedule the appointment. Now that the town report is done, I can work on making those amendments to the tattoo ordinance. And then Catherine sent me, God, what, 3-4 weeks ago, the final housing, and I just have to put that in, just reformat and put that one paragraph at the end that the selectmen can amend it from time to time, so I haven't forgotten that.
Good.
I talked with John Scanlon last Friday about the easiest way to get the information from the Belmont Planning Board and their land use office and their code enforcement office would be that we went over again the list of concerns and questions that he has, and that either Dari or myself, preferably Dari, because he knows his way around land use files more than I do, can schedule some time to go over to their land use office and their code enforcement officer. He can take my scanner and either my laptop, or if we have an extra laptop, take that, and he can go through, because it's really going to be 2 offices he has to look through, and just pick out what John wants, automatically scan it right there. We have an electronic copy, it doesn't cost anything. We're not making
And
staff.
Dari knows what John wants already?
Yes.
Okay.
And, oh, sorry about that. I forgot to shut my phone off. It'll stop.
Actually, it's pleasant music. so-
Okay. And also, if there's plans, any surveys or anything, what we would do is just put a sticker on it and just ask that if their planning office could go make copies at Staples and just bill us and we'll pay for that. And he said that would work for him, so.
Okay.
But I know, we had a good conversation, so I know more exactly what his train of thought and what he's looking for, so. So it's not just specific documents, it's history and so, just an update on that. A reminder that March 3rd at 8:30, we're meeting with Charles Willicke from New Hampshire DOT to go over the agreement and the schedule for Caleb Hill Road improvements, and we can start the request for qualifications process for engineering firms, so he'll review all that with us, so we can get going on that. That's exciting. The Health Trust, I went back and looked through my piles, and I looked through all my electronic communications, and they said that last winter, they had sent me some new Health Trust membership agreement forms that needed to be signed, and I looked and I didn't find them, so I said, send them again, we'll sign them. And what this is, and I just made a brief summary, and I'll read it, and then I gave Gail a copy so she can put it in the minutes. There's 4 places the board has to sign, but let me just explain what it is before you start passing them around.
Are they all the same thing, or is it?
No, there's 4 things. The first is updated membership agreement. RSA 5B requires that any municipality or jurisdiction, governmental jurisdiction is participating in a pooled risk management program has to have a formal membership agreement. We currently have a membership agreement, we have had membership agreements, but they need to have a new membership agreement because what they're doing is they're pulling out the retiree billing services that they provide for us and the COBRA administrative services that they do for us. COBRA, as you know, is a federal program, and the
So who
retiree...
will be doing those administrative services?
Oh, they do them. They have been doing them. They do them for the town, at no cost to the town. In fact, this is one of the benefits...
We're pulling them out.
Oh, no, pulling them into separate agreements.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry. Putting them in separate agreements before they were incorporated in the agreement. This way, it allows any municipality or jurisdiction that wants to no longer have those services, instead of going in and amending the whole agreement again, you can just amend the separate agreement. And the termination dates for each of those is for COBRA, whoever decided we wanted to no longer have them do that for us, it's 60 days written notice. The membership agreement is in the bylaws, which I haven't had a chance to read yet.
I won't be signing this then, because that's what I was just looking for.
For the bylaws, here. That's for the membership agreement. And the retiree is just a 30-day written notice. And then the other document to sign is a resolution saying that you are the authorized people to sign these agreements. So that's what the four things are.
I think I'll sign that one. I haven't read
You're the only
bylaw.
ones that can sign it, so. Okay, amendments, procedure, indemnification. Termination. Termination. 7. It says termination, status of a member in health trust, participation in any of its coverage programs shall be continuous unless terminated for conduct determined by the Board of Directors, failure to pay any contributions, failure to continue to meet the criteria required by health trust or any insurer, including without limitation underwriting criteria, failure to comply or continue to comply with any material provisions of the applicable operative documents. Member review and process for termination. That's if they want to terminate us. Effective termination or withdrawal. Withdrawal by member. A member may withdraw from health trust or terminate its participation in any of the coverage programs. Right now, we have health, dental, life, accident, short-term, and long-term disability insurance. Of any of the coverage programs subject to the terms of the applicable operative documents and the following conditions. A member may withdraw its participation from the coverage program effective as of the last day of the month following 60 days advance written notice to Health Trust. And any claims made upon termination of withdrawal, if they were made before withdrawal, the Health Trust honors all those claims. That's the...
Are we still reviewing other options?
Of health insurance right now? No, not as of this moment. We're just doing property liability and workers' comp and unemployment comp.
So 60 days, that's what I heard?
Yep. So there is the membership agreement, the certificate of authorizing, signing the membership agreement, the COBRA Administrative Services Agreement, and the Retiree Billing Services Agreement.
Now, is this standard language where we pay if the retiree doesn't pay?
Yes, it's always been that way. And since I've been here, there's only been, and they notify you right away if someone's not paying. And I've only had to do that twice, where I had to get in touch with the subscriber and say, the member, and just say, you have to pay your, and And it really shouldn't happen, because both of those subscribers, it was just for the portion that they had to pay, because the New Hampshire retirement system is paying the bulk of their health insurance.
Might have just been an oversight.
Yeah, it was no problem to correct, but they stay on top of it. Okay, let me make sure I get all these, 'cause if I don't pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think Catherine's only got one set. Oh, still down there.
That's 2 of them.
They're being read.
Got it. I got it.
After last week's meeting, I reviewed the police logs, because I wasn't given the most updated police log. I was still looking at the ones that Luke had created for the mileage and cruiser maintenance. And then Pat and Joe both emailed me the updated ones. And when I took a look at them, I got together with Tim and we reviewed it, and we said, we got to make this easier for them to enter the data, because they have to enter the data. And so he went through, and I just wanted to show, well, you probably can go in and see yourself.
Where is it shared to us? It's not shared to us yet.
It hasn't been shared yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think maybe because he's still tinkering with it with Nate Morrison and Luke Pinault and Steve Henry. Because one of the things I had suggested is that who's ever the night supervisors on Sunday, that they be the ones responsible for filling in the mileage. And they agreed. They said, yeah, that's the way it should be done. And
As long as it gets done and done properly. You can do it Monday morning, Sunday night, I don't care.
well, as long as someone's held accountable and it's easy for them to do it. Okay.
Can you make sure that they get shared with us so that we can see what?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm in the dashboard, I don't see it at all. Under police, I don't see it.
Is it looked, key in 2016 cruiser maintenance? It was the same document that you sent to me.
Okay, hold on a minute.
It's just a separate file. I think it's just kind of out there.
Okay, 20.
And I went back and researched through the 2014 and 2015 minutes every time cruiser maintenance came up. So I just printed out those pages, and
Cruiser maintenance log.
this is each separate page. I mean, you talk regularly to the chief about
Looks like I still got the old one.
pertaining to the cruisers.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I do. Still the old one.
So anyway, I thought it was interesting, because this is,
Updated, I got a new one.
yeah, this is what we were receiving prior to the first time the board said, Joe and John both offered to sit down with the chief and come up with a better way to keep
What
track.
happened?
John says he was
John
on it.
Scanlon was working on it.
I think it was a compilation. I know that Tim had worked with John on that as well. And what they had come up with is what you were seeing before. So now, what we did is,
That's what they got right now.
I mean, there's just so many tabs on it, it's amazing. But
Wow,
this is
it's crazy.
yeah, this is what you had before. That's the summary sheet that they had before, with the cars going across, and this is the first week that they have filled in all the mileage. And these are all the ones that you were missing before. So to correct that, I'm just trying to find the one they enter it on. This is the one that they enter it on. So the only thing they have to enter, and it doesn't show which are shaded, is the odometer reading, and it's listed by the age of the car. It's listed right there whose car it is. They just have to enter the new odometer reading
That's it.
That's it. That's all they have to.
So that's
and
all
it
they
will-
have to
and it will
write down is this
calculate
column.
the difference. We'll plug that in and then load up the next week. And so they can't play with those columns. And it's just reordered so that it's easier for them to see, and then the headings are frozen so that it'll just be easier. And then the other thing they have the ability to enter is, what maintenance needs to be done on it.
So this is what's proposed?
That's the summary sheet now.
That's what they enter on.
Yeah, that's what they enter on, I'm
Enter the
sorry.
mileage in, and then it downloads to here. It uploads here, I should say.
Yeah. This is you'll still get this summary.
Yeah,
sheet.
that's the one I got on here.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
No, trust me, there's more tabs in there with tables, bar graphs, and pie charts and everything. I'm like, way too much information for me. I just want to make sure that
Circles and arrows.
all the boxes are filled in and it's calculated properly, and that in the column of what maintenance is needed
You want to take a look at it?
is
So
done.
I'm looking at this and it
I've
says
seen it
miles
on
this
one of the
period,
previous
what's the period?
Each week, every week, from
What is it
Sunday to
filled in?
Sunday.
So
Right.
can we have a beginning and an ending date? Or is it always Sunday?
It's always
Always
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So for one
All
week,
these dates are Sunday,
so for
once you
one
hand it
week, on 2/21/16,
Yeah.
they drove the 166,140 miles?
No, that's the current
That's the
odometer
current reading.
reading.
No, okay, I'm going over. Miles this period, it was the 6C. 133,955 miles.
That's the odometer reading.
No, it isn't. It says miles this period. Is 50
Isn't this sheet here where they enter the current
So are you telling me
odometer
those
reading,
two
which is
are
what
entered in
she's
the wrong
reading off?
column?
They shouldn't
What
be.
is she looking at?
Right.
Which one is she looking at?
She's looking at a different,
2/21/16.
she's looking at a different,
The 6C.
Tell me I'm crazy. Miles this period, 54, 121,919.
That's the odometer reading.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it in the wrong column?
no, that's the 4B. The 4B's at the garage. That doesn't have any mileage on it.
So why are these three figures in the miles this period?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mine doesn't say miles this period.
But this is what they enter. This is the sheet that they enter
Yeah.
it in on.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't see that
So you're
there.
gonna tell me they're gonna continue to use that sheet?
That's
Yeah.
what they're trying right now.
Well,
Because they didn't enter anything in the last odometer on the 6B, that's why you get the 121,000 and the 133,000, because it's zero. If you look at the 6B, it's zero, so it stays the same. And if the 6C, it's
okay,
zero, so it
those
stayed the
figures
same.
should not be over there, because this is miles this period, and that car didn't drive that many miles during that period.
None of
Right.
these cars are miles this period. I don't have those columns at all. I've just
There's
got the
different tabs.
odometers.
Are you
So,
scrolling through
what
the
why
this
don't I
is
have
telling
those?
us is this ain't working, and it ain't working.
I don't even
I don't
have
use that
this.
word often.
Look
Well,
at
the
your,
chief has to sign off on what's going to be done anyway. So anyway, I
Let's see
drafted
what
this.
the next one looks like.
Chief will do what the selectmen tell him to do. How's that?
Joe,
This is the one that
on the
the
bottom here.
directive I
Hitting the tabs, I
drafted.
can,
Grab mine.
analysis, no, I see.
That's right.
Okay, I get it. List, okay, list. Average miles a year, analysis by the week. Nope. 2. I get it. All right,
No,
there
what's
it
car
is,
1,
there
2,
it is.
3, and 4? That form addresses
What tab you
that.
got?
There is no
I got
1, 2,
it.
3,
I'm
and
on
4.
the
It tells
tab
I know
two.
that. That's
which
why
each car is, and
And this is
Just
much
another
more
example
detailed than what
why-
you've got over there.
we're not
Yep, I got it.
Yeah,
diligent
this is
on
the
this.
one right there.
Right.
Not this thing here.
all right, I printed out week 8, which is the one I gave you.
Tab 8, go to tab 8.
Go to tab 8. It's for week ending 2/21, and they enter the odometer reading,
Yep.
and then this last odometer reading is called over from the prior timesheet, and then it says miles this period, and there's a calculation there. So
Look
if
at
the-
6B. Do you see 6B? It has 121,919. There's no last
there's no,
odometer.
yeah, so look at tab
And we know that
7,
they've taken.
6B. If you look at tab 7, oh, that's the SRO. He hasn't been,
What are we gonna do
Hasn't
to
been
fix
filling that.
this and make it work?
well, they have to fill out the information, and that's what the directive is saying.
So you're telling me they have to fill it out correctly?
So this is the directive.
I
So
saw- I
read-
read the directive.
Okay. I read the directive too, and I like it.
So
Did you
next
wanna read
week,
the
the chief
directive?
has to,
Probably. Oh, I read this already.
Okay.
and then he can submit to
Sign
you what the procedure is, but
Are we
Tim
going
and
to-
I and Luke think this
Are we,
will
the
work.
Board of Selectmen, going to approve these things that Tim is creating before they go out and are used?
I think we should.
Since they're collecting the data for the Board of Selectmen, I think they should as well.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, because we're trying to
I'll make a
get,
motion, we use the form generated by Mr. Pearson to keep track of mileage and repairs.
I haven't
and-
seen the form generated by Mr. Pearson.
and
That's what
I think
these
I'm
are.
looking at.
they're right here. If you go into, it's 2016 cruiser maintenance.
Not in this.
In this one, well, I've got it.
I have it.
I do too.
I
don't.
shared it with, it's the same one that you've had before, with the changes that he made.
I'm looking at the ones we used in 2014.
No, you need to look at the 2016.
I don't have 2016.
Go up to search under 2016 cruiser maintenance log.
Yeah, type in 2016 cruiser maintenance. I had the same problem, Catherine, so,
So just a Google
Cruiser
Doc.
logs.
It's just a Google Doc.
So you gotta search
And
docs.
police, go to your Google Drive,
Where do you want me to put
open
this
up the
information?
police maintenance
in
section.
the search.
Go to the last one, click it, and then at the bottom,
Would you like me to
all
put
of
in
these
there?
little
Type in
tabs here bring
2016
up lots
cruiser
more
maintenance.
information. All that information is in here.
I think Tim told me this was not sucking it up.
But I thought it was interesting. I gave you the first
got all
one, that's
sorts of
what they used to use, and that was what Luke had
13A.
created back in 2014, the
Yep.
first one.
Right.
And then,
That's-
and then we've been
it's
using the
separate
one
from
that
this.
Tim had.
It's
Well, it's a-
got the
created.
weekly mileage on the car identified and what needs to be done and what has been
Right.
So it's,
done.
we'll get it right.
Why do we have a 13A, B, and D? I don't see a 13C.
It probably was
I think that
transferred
was
to either highway or
Wasn't-
the town hall.
13C, the
Why would we
Explorer
go
that we turned back
to
in or whatever.
this?
It could, yeah, it could
I
have been
thought that was
traded
an
in.
11.
Why would we go to
I
this?
don't recall.
You guys are liking this?
Well, this is what it's been. It's just that he's reordered the
This is not what
data.
it's been. I was just at 2014 and 2015 cruiser maintenance log.
Do you have the tabs on the bottom?
This is not what it's been.
Do you have the tabs on the bottom?
I don't think you can do the tabs on the bottom.
Oh,
with that
you've got a
computer.
tablet.
Look at, on the tabs on the bottom here are the same,
I
Catherine.
think I lost it completely.
Yeah, it tells you when the oil changes due,
So here's the tab, here's the list,
needed
the
maintenance.
analysis. And then if you look over here, this is what
What they
we've
did
had.
to it.
Yeah,
So
who
they
did the
input this
maintenance.
and it all falls into place on that first one that we
Oh, I
have.
don't have that.
You don't get it on that computer because it doesn't show tabs. And I know that because that's why I asked for this, so I could see the patrol schedules. And the patrol
So
schedules
I
is
can
all
print
done
it
by...
off over there.
Yes, you can. Yep.
This is kind of
Did
fun.
you see the extra information on those tabs, Catherine?
Pat
That's what I just showed
Well,
you.
there's a lot of it. There's
Yeah.
a lot
This is
of
like too
extra
much
information.
information.
Way too much,
Way too
but
much.
that's okay.
Yeah. All the officer has to do is fill in the weekly mileage, the needed maintenance, and when it's done.
Yep.
And it,
course, the
and-
last
and
one I've
everything's
got-
all in the same order. Because what happened on the other form is because they didn't have the headings frozen, when they would be ending mileage, they were putting it in the cell for the wrong vehicle. So that's been,
The date on the last one I've got is 12/31, though. Seems like,
on the last one?
yeah.
On the,
That's the first one.
on tab 2.
Yeah,
Tab
tab
two.
2 is 1231.
And then you go tab 3, yeah, there
Go
was...
tab 8 is
Yeah,
2/21/16.
because there was no tab, the next tab is January 17th.
Well, the one on tab 8 is like really
Tabs are on this
convoluted.
computer, I found them.
Oh, good. And then there's 2/7, 2/14, so they are now doing weekly.
Oh, so you can scroll backwards like that. Okay,
Yeah.
They're up at the top instead of on the bottom.
okay, got it.
And you'll see it's already set up for
So how do
Sunday,
we,
2/28, tab 9.
so I'm back to how do we correct the mistake? Miles's period.
Well, you can't, how can you go back? You can only go forward.
No kidding. So how do we prevent that from happening going forward?
That's where his written policy,
Be real serious about it.
You mean, so
he
they
has to
won't
have a
be-
written,
they won't
a
be
standard
careless?
written procedure on who's going to enter it, when they're going to enter it, and on the new form.
And we have to call them on it real quick if it doesn't get done.
Yeah, well, that's why I put in there that you look at it weekly.
Woohoo.
Now, I don't know if there's any way that this can be tied in with what, oh, and also they put in a little explanation there if the car was used for something else, or it was down in the shop or whatever, so I think it's great.
Who created
myself.
this?
Well, if they
Yeah,
do
well,
it,
originally Tim, we tinkered with it,
if they do it, it'll be fine.
and he went and
Tim, and
talked
he worked with
Lou.
Luke, and,
It's a collaborative effort.
Well, I tell you, every time I get the Miles's period wrong, I'm gonna be after the chief about why they're driving 166,140 miles.
I agree with you, Catherine.
And also making sure that they keep track of when the next oil change is due. Now, I don't know who does that, if that's Ryan that's in charge of that, or Luke, I don't know, but they need to have a written policy that gets communicated to all the people that are involved, and then we need to track it.
Follow up on it.
When we have a new vehicle, is that warranty work done at the dealer?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, warranty
I'm not
is.
the one to ask, that would be
Are we positive?
Johnny.
Yeah.
John?
The warranty work on the new car?
Strange things
You don't,
happen.
you don't,
We don't do that.
yeah.
I think we do
All right,
oil change.
what's next?
That was it.
Okay.
Right.
There's a motion on the floor.
I don't think it was seconded, was it?
No.
Well, the motion stands.
So is
It's the
Is that
motion is
directive
not
okay to-
seconded, so it's not really a motion.
Okay,
that
we're done.
directive okay to send to the chief so that next week he can,
We signed it, it's just here for Catherine's signature, she wants
The
to.
motion was to use this form. Are we not going to use this form? As improved and corrected as we go along?
I'll second it for discussion's sake.
I mean,
We
if we're not
do
going
want to
okey-dokey.
approve what the intent of the discussion was. We would like, if we're asking a directive for information from a department, and Tim creates something in the computer for that, we'd like to approve that form prior to that happening.
That was my motion.
Okay?
Who's determining needed maintenance?
Say that again?
Who determines needed maintenance?
well, I think the officers are supposed to report if there's something not working.
Right.
Or broken that needs to be
Part of their
addressed. Or,
safety
there's
checks.
a funny
Right.
noise on it, or it's got a dent in it, and that they would report that to their supervisor, and then somehow that gets communicated to who's ever going to be filling in the form.
Okay, so we don't know.
We don't know because the chief has to write the procedure, which he'll assign to somebody else.
Change oil on highway is free to do so.
All right, is there any more discussion on the motion?
Should we wait for John for a vote since he's the one that hounds it all the time?
Yeah, you can vote on approving the form once you actually see it working, and if it is going to work, and
We're going to tinker with it as we go, but we've got to have some form to start with.
with information in it.
That's right. If we want to change the headings or whatever, I don't believe my motion's intent is to lock us into this in perpetuity.
Right.
This is just, we got to have something to get them going on.
Yep.
Or we don't get them going, but we got to have something.
But if you don't have anything set in stone, then they can just say, well, we've decided to modify all along.
Exactly. If we're
Right.
gonna have them start, I'd rather have them start
Yep.
with destruction, as Joe said.
Yep. Okay. All those in
along.
favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
I am, I want to see the, I don't want to go through iterations, I want one and be done.
Well, that could take weeks.
Maybe months, once we get the thing.
Yep. And, I mean,
Right.
I've only spoken to Luke, and he's very receptive to it. He and,
Well, the motion
And
carries
Nate,
3 to
too.
1.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, next.
The next thing is, I did call Mr. Humanek and leave a message about meeting with the board on the 27th.
Humanix,
Humanek,
and they are,
New Franklin
Franklin.
Apartments.
okay.
Your
380
breakfast,
West
your
Main.
breakfast buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Which week is he
Buy
coming?
me coffee.
It's the 27th of
I
March.
felt bad ever since. Won't take his coffee this time.
When Lauren was here, she met with Mr. Sullivan, and she was able to actually go in and do an inspection, and this is her recommendation.
Wait a minute. Can you go back to the meeting with the gentleman?
Yes.
When is he coming in?
You have to tell me the time.
No, you said March 27th.
Yeah, that was the date you gave me.
That's a weekend. That's Easter Sunday.
So in retrospect,
My dates have been off. It was the last Thursday in March.
31st?
24th, I have written down the 24th. I'm sure I told him the 24th because I have his name written down. I was looking at this when I wrote the message.
of March,
But yes,
I don't have anything. What
but I
is
don't
this?
have the time because I haven't confirmed it with him and I need a
Well,
time
send
from
me out a,
you.
This is non-public.
Oh, okay.
send me out
What
a
is?
notification.
Humanek?
Why
How's
would
that
it be
non-public?
non-public?
For elected officials.
Yes,
We don't get non-public.
but what's being discussed is, it doesn't matter about us. I don't have a problem with that.
I thought this was him coming to discuss the Board of Selectmen.
But in doing that, he has to discuss specific people at 380 West Main Street, which is residents.
Well,
That would not,
perhaps you should have a conversation with him beforehand to ask him if he intends this to be in non-public or not.
Okay.
If he
Yeah,
wants
that
it in
works.
public, then just remind him.
Yeah, he has to be careful of
Statute.
other people. Yep,
this makes a difference on timing
okay.
to schedule him, because we schedule usually at the end instead of...
I don't want to bring heat down on anybody, but these people have been doing this kind of stuff for a while, and to hide it on any level, I find hard to do. It's about time it came out and somebody else heard about it.
We don't have a choice if he brings up specific
If he just
residents'
wants to talk
names.
about us,
We don't have
I'm
to.
okay with that. I have no problem. We're elected officials, I get that. But I got a feeling that it's going to be a little bit more than that, and the conversation's going to go...
I'll
And if
be
he
all set.
chooses public, we'll have to be prepared to shut him down if he starts.
Yep.
have to get your
What is his big
gavel
woolly
all
pants? I don't get pushed around
ready to
by no
go
effing lawyers.
Been
Don't
more than
start
happy
it.
to get my gavel ready.
Maybe we
'cause
better get a bigger gavel.
Break that gavel out.
Bring him a hammer.
just let
You
you-
don't want to break the glass on the table.
Right, already is.
Yeah,
Got a
she did, yeah.
You don't want to break it anymore. I know,
Again.
I'm right on the crack.
Okay, next.
I was going to see if the next Health Trust Benefits Administrator Workshop is April 6th, which is a Wednesday, correct, Gail? And we were wondering if the board would allow Gail and I to go together. We won't stay all day, but at least cover the first half of the workshop.
What day of the week is it?
It's a Wednesday, April 6th.
And
It's
pertaining
the
to
first
what?
week of the month?
Yes.
Benefits administrator? Maybe you should go for the whole thing.
So it's the
I'll
first,
cover the day.
it's the first
Let me see what
Wednesday
my
of the
schedule-
month.
Yep.
It's after the 5th.
That's a very important subject. I mean, if it's repetitious after lunch, that's one thing, but if
The
there's
town
new
clerk's
things to
office would be
learn.
crazy. They always are. The end of the month, the beginning of the month.
So it's a Wednesday. I'll be more than happy to cover for the day. The phones. About anything else, it's above my pay grade.
Yeah. And just, I mean, we'll be back early enough in the afternoon, so just say, just take a message and for either Gail or I, and we'll deal with it when we come back.
Okay. I wrote it in my book to cover the office.
Yes.
So
Okay, good.
the answer is yes? Yes.
Yeah, Gail
Yes.
had gone last year, but I think it would be much more meaningful
Joe, yes.
if we both go
No.
this year.
You said no?
I have nothing for Joyce.
I'm asking what's your consensus on them going to the, hello?
Oh, I'm all for it. I want him to go all day.
Okay, got it.
All right, well, hey.
Thought we decided that.
That's why the no was the curveball to us.
Did you get my note on ordering them?
Yes, I did. And I
Who the hell
We
with
were
them?
perplexed.
The hell with education, I don't care about any of that.
Amazon Prime, Tim orders it on his own personal Prime Amazon card.
Okay.
So I'd just as soon keep it on his.
Got it.
That's all right, but I'd have to call him if you want him by the 6th,
15th.
the 15th.
I have to have them by the 15th.
Okay,
Okay. So he'll be back Monday.
okay. Well, I can go and put it on my
No, we-
personal Prime.
We can wait. We can wait till Monday. It'll probably take a week. We still got time.
I
Okay.
can do it. I can do it on mine.
We're on Selectmen's reports. Peter, do you have anything?
Nope.
Joe has
Oh, I
none?
do have one thing.
Joe has something.
We're going to be having coming up here, and I'm saying this for anybody who might be interested in helping, and maybe you're going to reiterate this, that we're going to be removing the floor and reinstalling a floor at the senior center, the Grange in Lockmere, in March, commencing on the 17th, which is a Thursday, where we're tearing up floor and moving flooring around and whatever. And we'd love to have the people come down and be volunteers, lend your expertise. We can use all the people we can get, pretty much literally, and thank you very much in advance, and we'll see you there. That's me.
Talking about the senior center floor, the old floor, Johnny's going to have a trailer set up for the old flooring. I intend to take some of the old flooring and reclaim it and perhaps make some necessary shelving in the hallway for the senior center. If other folks would like some of that old flooring and reclaim it, I mean,
They should see Johnny, right?
they should see me, probably. And then that day, as it comes up, or if you'd like it to burn, it's maple.
It's got varnish on it, but it's not like the coats or anything.
Very thin coat, if
A
any.
little varnish.
An outdoor furnace.
So, if somebody sees this on there, they can get in touch with Pat Constantino. We'll work it out. Okay. Catherine, do you have anything?
Well,
That's a deep subject.
motion to,
That's
That's
a
for all
water
the
district
buttons,
issue.
by the way. All the buttons. I had a conversation with Captain Martin today. It was a very good conversation. I was very pleased when I hung up
With who?
Captain
Ryan Martin.
Captain Martin, okay.
I'm frustrated that there's no more enforcement of the parking ordinance. There is no patrolling of downtown. I once again had a resident tell me they watched a drug buy go down on the park bench over there by the church, by Ideal Hall and before the Episcopal Church. I didn't know what to say. I'd experienced that myself. You have cars parking on the side streets, Chestnut Street, on the sidewalks, in the traveled way, forcing, people walking into the road. It's crazy. So he felt that if we had a more direct mandate, because as he said, there's nothing to indicate that that painted line is nothing more than a fog line. There's no sign there that says, don't park on sidewalk.
Well, except for, it's the wrong color for a fog line.
I know it's not white, it's yellow.
Okay, so then it's not a fog line.
Right.
So did.
I think he's looking from a directive, something from the board that says, he doesn't,
Enforce all applicable statutes, whether you like them or not.
well, I think over the years, they've heard different things from different boards of selectmen, and I think that's the problem. I have.
Are we talking about the village?
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah.
Lochmere area, there's the same, in areas you'll have the same problem. You have fishermen down along River Road. You can't get through sometimes.
Well, mostly the church on Sunday over on Church Street, over in
Well,
Lockmere.
that's.
There's like 20 cars
I don't go
parked.
down Church Street on Sunday morning.
No.
But in the summer, the fishermen, when you're trying to go down through there, even if you want to go over Jamestown Road into Belmont, sometimes you got to be careful.
I mean, you should always be, because it's a lot, especially at the start of salmon season and whatever.
Exactly. So
A lot
it's
of
all
vehicles
over town. It's in the village, it's in wherever we have these compact areas. But it's mostly, for me, the big one was the drug buy. Come on. If somebody feels comfortable sitting on a bench on Main Street, selling drugs to their buddy, with people milling around and shopping and whatnot, that's insane.
I am just absolutely insane about the drug bust. I get that. And I get the parking downtown because it is all run amok, because you have your business owners every single day parking right out here, right out front, all day long.
With vanity plates?
All day long. However, when you get to the village part of it, do you remember correctly, we had, maybe 2 years ago, a public hearing because we wanted to do something with Cedar and Chestnut on the sidewalks, on the sidewalks, and we had quite a big room here. It kind of goes hand in hand. We have New Hampshire DOT wanting to do something with our sidewalks that for 100 years downtown, these have been crosswalks. And, for 200 years in the village, we've had this situation going on where on High Street, you can't, if you enforce the law, and the chief sat right here and said the same thing, I wish he was here tonight. If you enforce the law for the edge of their tire to touch the edge of the yellow line, then you're not going to have room to turn from Cedar Street onto High Street.
That's right.
And God forbid you get a UPS truck or a FedEx or anything larger than that. They can't make the turn if somebody is visiting the first two houses on High Street. You can't do it.
It's illegal in the state of New Hampshire for you to park your car in the street and block a lane of traffic. So, on these streets, those people need to start parking in their driveways.
So if I have somebody visiting me, and I already have 3 cars in my driveway, and somebody's coming to visit me, that house is older than probably you and I put together, and they've been doing it for how many years?
It doesn't make it right.
No, it does make it right, Catherine.
it doesn't.
You can't
If
all
you're
of a sudden say, I'm sorry,
Okay.
you can't have visitors over, you can't have a company, you
So-
can't have company and tell them to
can't.
park down the street.
Of course you can. I'm on Chestnut Street, waiting. We're doing an inspection. The landlord decided not to show up, but nevertheless, here I am. I'm with the fire captain. There are 4 cars. They're parked. They're half on the cross sidewalk. They're blocking one lane of traffic, so you can't go north on the street without going into the other lane. So cars trying to get by 3 of the cars, and the car comes out of High Street, and there's almost a head-on right there, because where are they? They're in the other lane. Meme and Pepe, an old couple came down, and they're looked like they were just walking for exercise. They had to walk down the middle of the road because they couldn't walk on the sidewalk. They finally crossed over to the other side of the street, but there really wasn't a sidewalk there. So it's, you have a safety issue. You know, it's dangerous.
Half a high street doesn't have a sidewalk.
They still can't block a lane of travel, so your scenario with a delivery truck trying to make that corner.
So if you take away
there shouldn't be a vehicle parked in the road.
So you're talking about
They're
no
parked on the
on-street
side of the
parking?
road.
They
So
cannot block-
what you're suggesting is
cannot
no
block a-
off-street side of the road parking.
The roads aren't
It
designed
is-
for parking.
It
They're
is
too narrow.
illegal for you to block a lane of travel in the state of New Hampshire. And we do it all over town, all the time.
And if we're working for sewer, we're supposed to have a detail if we
Block a lane of
block any
traffic.
part of a lane.
Fact is that you can't block the roads, they can't park on the sidewalk, they have to park off-street, or they have to get tickets to let them know that they have to park off-street. I think it's pretty clear. I understand that there's issues involved here, the people having guests over and whatever, but either they can park and block the traffic, or they can't park and they have to do something else. There's no in-between. They can't park on, and they can't park on the sidewalk. So, that sounds like a
Well-
real conundrum, doesn't it?
Well, unless you want to do Cedar and Chestnut to allow parking, you go one way.
It's only one way now.
It was recommended by the police department to go one way on Cedar and one way on High Street. and
One-way
take away
traffic.
One-way traffic and do away with the sidewalk that on the top end of High Street, because on the bottom end of High Street, there is no sidewalk. And it was there were several recommendations by the police department and highway department at the time. They went out and looked at it, came back, gave us recommendations, and we sat on it because we couldn't come to a resolve on it. And, you know, I don't think that there is going to be an easy resolve, no matter which way you look at it.
Shouldn't we just enforce the law?
And that's really easy for you to say where you live and up there, and you can park where you are. People have been there in the village in tight parking for forever.
My son lives
How
on
can you
Park
just
Street.
say now, I'm sorry, but you can't park on the side of the road?
Okay.
And they've been so used to parking on the side of the road well, I've lived here 30 years.
My son
We've been
lives on
allowed to
Park
it,
Street.
except in the winter.
He cannot park, well, like, for a few months this winter, it's unusual. He lives on Park Street. If there's an event there, there isn't enough room to park in his yard. You can't park in the street, blocking the lane of traffic. We park at the school and walk down.
Yep. Got to do something else. You can't just park out in the street.
You can't create a safety hazard that's going to affect other motorists or pedestrians, and that's what we do every day. But
Well, I suggest we talk about this when John is here, and I suggest we talk about it when the chief is here, and then John also can look at the situation out there and have their input. And I also suggest, before we make a determination to go ahead and enforce anything, that we at least have some type of an alert out there for the residents that live in that area, Lockmere or the village, to say that's what we're going to do.
I'm far more interested in getting them to patrol Main Street so we can stop having drug buys in the middle of the day
Amen to that.
and our parking. I mean, why have an ordinance if they're not going to enforce
I
it?
agree with you.
So I think,
And we shouldn't be waiting till 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the Explorers get out either.
no. So I think
We
definitely need to have the chief.
We
in here.
had a parking enforcement officer.
We didn't fund it this time.
He's in college.
That's why it was the chief that recommended we didn't fund it.
Well, there you go. And we put it just like that in the budget. So ultimately, the
Right.
responsibility is ours.
So let's take it up next week with the chief. Where is Joyce?
She's on the phone.
This abatement for this property with 2 dwelling units on it. I mean, it's too late now, but one of them was built as a barn. And then became a dwelling unit, and they were told they can't have 2 dwelling units on that lot. So they abandoned the one in the front, so they could live in the waterfront one, which really isn't waterfront, because in between them and the water is the right-of-way for New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Dam Division.
What was it?
Dam division.
I got one of those, still on the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lauren lowered it.
So my question is, what did she devalue? The existing house? Because it looks like she took 40,000 off of it. 39,500, so she took the value off the house that was abandoned on the street so they could have the waterfront?
Might still be a house.
Oh, it's a show. It's still sitting there. It's a cute little house, 3 gables in the front.
There you go.
So,
So
that's all right.
it's
got
worth
3
what it's
signatures,
worth.
but it's not getting mine.
It's more of a house
all
than
right.
the one on
I make a
Windsor.
motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3,
And I'll second it, because I love non-publics.
Personnel.
personnel.
I'll still second it.
Yes.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
We are red is on. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain to personnel issues permanently.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I was gonna, that's okay, I can talk to Joyce about the abatement afterwards.
So you're okay for a second?
I'm okay for a second.
Go ahead.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
I didn't sign that because I didn't know what they were taking the abatement
Yep,
off.
shut it off.
That property, when he came in to build his waterfront house, he came in and got a building permit for a barn. It was Albert and I down